Alright guys, Shotty T here with another Abyss video. This will be the next to the last video here. This one is going to have two fights. It's going to have one fight to its completion, and the other one is basically going to be a highlight of what the game plan generally is against that opponent. So first we got Symbiote Supreme. As you can see there, anytime you critical hit, he gains a charge. Once he gains the 20 charges, then you start generating. So really, it's kind of like an anti-Aegon fight. So ideally, probably it would be best if you just had a person that doesn't crit. Like Guillotine 99, I'm guessing would be a pretty solid option here, but you still have to deal with the stagger. When anytime her armor goes away, it props back up. So it's kind of like a fight that's really designed not to be one shot. I don't think I've seen one out there. I mean, it may be, but it's just hard to get a lot of damage output if you can't crit. I guess a heavy damage over time champ that relies on it could possibly take this fight. But really, the whole idea is just try to not get as many critical hits and just take him down methodically. Now Doom, he has a low crit rate, so that's the reason why I chose him. And as you can see, I'm just spamming heavies in the corner, and just throw an SP3, because SP3 only counts as one hit. So the heavy attack is the highest damage output you can give to a champ. So I figured this would be the best way to try to damage ramp up. So that's the reason why I went with him. But as you can see, I'm not really doing too much damage to him. So when I was doing this fight, I was saying, what am I supposed to do here? I mean, he has 9 charges now, and we've taken 4% of his health. Now he has 10 charges. Once he gets to 20, I start to generate. I guess maybe Namor could do this. You could reflect the damage back, and you can bleed him and have that high damage SP3. Of course, is capped at 85,000, maybe. But can you squeeze him on your team? We only have one niche fight, and I guess he's good for Killmonger also. That's another fight in this path. You actually face Killmonger twice. You guys didn't see the first Killmonger fight, but the last video will show Killmonger. Then I just messed up there and bled to death. But yeah, there will be the last video, just to give you a preview. It's gonna be Killmonger, Hyperion, Karnak, and then just the final moments of the collector fight. So if you want to see a full collector fight, just refer to my other Abyss Run video, like Path 2 or Path 3. I'll make sure, again, memory permitting, I'm able to record every single fight in its entirety, but I can't promise you that. So it may be the same thing, where just highlights of what I can recover, what I can partially save. But again, I mess up again with the bleed, so it's just killing me. So Torch seems like a logical option. Obviously, he does well against Mystics, but I wanted to give Doom a try first because I knew he had a low crit rate. And of course, my pre-fight was going a long time ago against Mephisto. I guess I've seen some videos where it's possible to one-shot Mephisto without having without using your pre-fight. So I guess this will be a fight that you could potentially just use your pre-fight for against Symbiote Supreme. And I'm guessing that'll probably be the best one-shot opportunity, is to use Human Torch with the pre-fight. Because the thing about Symbiote Supreme, his power gain is just slow over time, so you can spam a lot of heavies in the corner and build up those smolders and those and keep the temperature up pretty easily. So yeah, I think it's possible for not Nova, but Human Torch to one shot with the pre-fight. Because you can see, I don't have the pre-fight, and I'm doing a pretty decent job. I'll take what, 9%. I think I finished the Doom fight. He had 95, 96% health, so I've taken off 10%, and we still got 35 skirmish charges on his first life. Or not first life, but you get the idea, like the way the skirmish charge build up, it's at 27. But again, that's not the main thing here. You got those 20 charges. Like, if they didn't have that, I mean, I don't know why they have to make these add more annoying factor, because if they didn't have that in there, I could get down to my final charge and probably take at least half of his life. But because you got that thing with a crit, I'm guessing maybe you change your masteries to where your critical rating is lower, to give yourself the lowest critical rating possible, and then give yourself the highest attack rating possible, and his work it that way. I'm guessing that's the way to tackle this. But then, yeah, that's the only way I can think of. And also, it does recommend turn off dexterity. So I did turn off dexterity for this fight, by the way. So, in case you guys didn't know, so that's the reason why I couldn't dodge that SB2 and it got launched. I had to basically block it. All right, so we're just gonna corner him there. So now you see all that degeneration there. So it's like he got 20 charges, and while that meter is going down, I'm just degenerating health over time. So yeah, that's a tough one there. Like I said, that added element makes it a harder one shot, but I saw that Human Torch was doing the work, so there's no point of trying anyone else at this point. So it's Human Torch or bust. I figured if I can get 20% health per attempt, cause that attempt took like 23% health. So I said 4 more tries. As long as I don't mess up and get hit by the bleeds, I can probably sustain one of those regeneration cycles. Maybe I could have to where I can survive 2 of them and make it where I can take 40% of his health instead of 20. So we're gonna see how much we do here. Like I said, it's been about a month, at least a month, probably a couple months since I finished this last Abyss run. I want to say it was around Christmas when I did this Abyss run. So obviously there's been a lot of hoarding over the last 2 months, and of course this Valentine's thing came at the right time with all these potions and opportunities to get units, and it just came at the right time. So all of it expires on March the 3rd, so don't want it to go to waste. So we're gonna definitely get this Abyss run in one way or the other. I'm gonna wait until defensive placement starts for this upcoming war. Place my defenders, because I'm gonna use Dr. Doom, my rank 3 version. But before I put him on defense, I'm gonna put him on defense, and then I'll be able to have him at my disposal up until war starts. But if I'm in the middle of a quest, I'll still be able to use him until that quest is complete. But if I quit the quest, then I won't be able to use him anymore if the war has already started. So as long as I start a quest before the war starts, I can still play with him until completion. But of course, I can't play any of the other champs that's gonna be used in the Abyss. I can't use any of them either. So my team is likely gonna be the 4 Horsemen, and I'm leaning towards Magneto because he's such a great counter for a lot of fights. I have to look and see what the options are, what the champions are in that path, because I heard Corvus is possibly good for path 5. So it's basically going to be between Corvus and Magneto. But Magneto has such a good one-shot potential. Like, it's hard to one-shot with Corvus. I guess don't know until you try. I heard he's good for Massacre. I think I still have to face Massacre this fifth round. Like I said, you'll see this massacre fight coming up and see what the basic strategy is here. Because unfortunately, A-Gun is not good for massacre because by the time, unless I purposely don't have this combo built to max, by the time I get to massacre, then I'll be okay. But massacre is kind of like it's kind of similar. Well, it's not really no fight like that. The massacre fight, basically, you get credit, you give more damage to the opponent when you hit into their block. If you hit them while they're not blocking, they're indestructible. So they take no damage from basic attacks, no damage over time. The only way you can damage is by hitting into the block. So, but if you do hit them, they have like a fracture charge. So the more fracture charges build up, the less armor rating the opponent has. So that way when you hit into the block, it actually does more damage. So you actually do want to hit them to build up the charges, even though they're indestructible. And then you get to the point where you have 99 charges. Then you can hit into the block where you be able to have the maximum block damage per hit. So I guess that's why Corvus is good there, because he has crit through block pretty much. And A-Gun could work too, but again, once he's at 999 plus combo, all his attacks are unblockable. So you can't block. Basically, it makes A-Gun not good. Now, there are some other champs that crit through the block, but you would never think to bring them to Abyss, like Yondu or Red Cyclops. Heck no. If they get buffed, they can probably make them where they're Abyss-worthy options. I know Angela and, speaking of Massacre, they're both getting a buff, so I think it'll probably help them out. And Massacre is also a great option too, speaking of which. Yeah, Massacre has good crit through the block too. So, Dr. Doom, I think he has a good block penetration, now that I think about it. So, but yeah, I don't recall if I used him for that Massacre fight or not. Like I said, it was just a highlight, so I'm just seeing the same thing you guys will be seeing today. But this attempt is going pretty well. Obviously, I caught the bleed again. But again, I can't deck, so I have to make sure that I'm shallow evading or make sure I'm steering clear, because sometimes he has that pretty long reach at times. They can clip you, and if he's in that blessing where he gets that fury, then you can kind of get messed up with that bleed there. So, but Human Torch is doing his job. We methodically taking them down here. Figured I'd commentate a little bit more. I know you guys enjoyed that musical ensemble the past few videos. But again, I'm forced to take the block damage. I was trying to parry it there. But yeah, he's doing a pretty good job. So what I'll do, I mean, if you guys want to fast forward through the rest of this, that's totally fine. What I'll likely do at this point, I'll play music for the rest of this. It shouldn't take too much longer, probably like 5 to 10 more minutes. So like a couple of musical tunes to go through, and then I'll pick back up the commentary going into the Massacre fight. But I pretty much gave you an idea of what the strategy for that fight will be. But it's such a short clip, I can just commentate throughout it still, so that way you can see it in live action. But hope you guys enjoy the rest of this Symbiote Supreme fight, and I'll pick it back up when the Massacre fight starts. All right, guys, now we're gonna mosey on to Massacre. As you can see that these paths are filling up. Feels real good to get more and more done. And it's kind of hard to kind of mess up because even when I had that crossroads last time, I could have went the other way. Then I just would have basically kind of mixed matched paths effectively. But here we go. So if either champ land an attack, they inflict a fracture charge on the opponent, reduce block proficiency by 400, and invert their block damage reduction. Massacre is indestructible while he isn't blocking, while his opponent is blocking, he fights very aggressively. While he is blocking, attacks against Massacre deal 100%. So basically, you have to be the aggressor. You can't be a turtle. Otherwise, you're going to get cornered very quickly. And obviously, the only way you can damage him is by hitting. But as you see there, you see that little red, like armor shatter looking thing, like passive armor shatter. So the more those charges build up, the more damage he's gonna take into his block. So I'm using Nick Fury here because he's one of my better options for this. So as you can see, the bleeds do take damage. They do deal damage when he's blocking. When he's not blocking, the bleed is not doing any damage. So you have to get him to block. So that's why I said damage over time can help. So that's another reason why I use Nick Fury, because he has that deep bleed. And I purposely threw that SB2 so he can block it. You saw that 35 gray damage. So you see these all this gray damage. But there's none while he's getting hit. But I have to keep building those fracture charges. I think the maximum you can build up is 99. But that way you'll maximize your block penetration when you hit into his block. So now you see him dealing 15K mediums into the block. So it's like a different way of fighting, because if I was fighting him, I could probably get 15K crit. I don't even know if I can get 15K crit with basic attacks. So it's almost like having an A gun once the higher this go, or even a Corvus. Now this time I threw the SP1. Now I'm in my second life, so now I have 16 tactical charges. So I'm unblockable, so I need to throw the SP1 again to get out of that phase. But the cool thing about this SP1 is dealing a lot of individual hits, so it's building up those fracture charges quicker. So now you're gonna see 34, 22. So you're seeing these numbers are getting insane. So imagine if you had Corvus, or like I said, Corvus is probably the best option here. But Doom has great plot penetration too, so I'm gonna try. I don't know if I use Doom here or not, because I can imagine having a rank 3 Doom doing the same thing would have some pretty good block penetration if Nick Fury can have this type of penetration himself. Now having that second life with that Fury probably will make up for not having the block penetration that Doom has. But this fight overall, once you get the hang of it, it's not really that difficult. You just got to be aggressive. So you're going to see me hit into the block. Again, now he's at the maximum fracture charge. So 24K mediums, 15K lights into the block. So that's pretty impressive. And you're going to see me do something else here. So he's blocking. We're going to purposely throw the SB2 again. Watch this damage, 29, 52, 66. Again, all on purpose. So imagine if I did that with Doom's SB2 with this same thing. So like I said, I'm leaning on bringing Corvus. I mean, not Corvus, but Magneto, because of the one-shot potential in other fights. But that was pretty good. But that's the highlight fight there. Hope you guys enjoyed. More to come.